Well, it turned out to be a sunny day here in Ohio. It wasn't a bad morning. A little windy, a little chilly, a little overcast. The track was decent. And man, oh man, I was thoroughly pleased with what I saw. Keep in mind, I have myself not gone with some of these horses. The ones that I was told, hey, you might want to have a look at this one. Hey, you might want to go with this one. I went with those horses all week. And sure, there were some horses that are a little bit behind, understandably. Some of the later ones to arrive, AC/DC, paced for 3 laps. The first lap, for the most part, going the right way, and then cantered a little bit. And you see that a lot with horses, just a little tired. They wash themselves out pretty easy, and it's just part of the process. I was just looking quick through to see if there's anyone. My apologies. Somebody messaged me, said, Anthony, where's Blue Rare? Blue Rare was a little bit sick this morning. She was the only one, actually, that was scratched aside from Royal Flush Deo. The only one that was scratched aside from Royal Flush Dale this morning. Both of them were a little sick. Never really had any. A couple other horses had a little mucus, but they didn't have temperatures. They did eat their breakfast. So by default, they were going on the track, and no concerns with any of the ones that I saw for the most part. Just looking here, obviously we're going to have some horses that made breaks or did just juvenile stupid stuff, but for the most part, I can tell you the ones that I went with, I was thoroughly pleased with. I had gone with a number of them this week, and we had made some changes. So even I saw some of the dramatic changes we made. A couple of horses, we made some significant shoeing changes, and they were much, much better this morning. Let's just start with the way the day went. First set, I went with Tomboy Strong. Now, of course, I did want to go with the majority of the horses. I only ended up going with half of them, I guess, that were being offered up for sale as homebreds. I did want to go with this filly, and quite frankly, if you guys have followed us and you understand why, or you'll understand why right away, I had very, very high hopes for I Don't Play Nice. Very high hopes. In fact, if you remember back up until a week before the Next Generation Stake Race, he was our Next Generation horse. And he had got to that 2-minute mark, but just never pushed past it. Now, he was a taller, lankier colt that probably needed 50 or 100 pounds of muscle on him. Needed a little more girth on him. We just weren't able to put it on him. He was just too juvenile. He was too immature. And, it wasn't that I was angry, but I was a little frustrated. I just felt, it felt there could be more there, and there wasn't. And I wanted to see, are there similarities? Now, I told you guys in a video this morning, when I looked at Tomboy Strong in comparison to I Don't Play Nice a year ago, I see a much bulkier horse, which is odd because she's a female. A bigger, stronger, not taller, but bigger, heavier, stronger horse than the colt of last year. Now, he had an immaculate gait, as does she, but she just looks bigger and stronger, and she picks up speed quicker. That's the one thing I'm going to be on the lookout for. That was the one knock I had against I Don't Play Nice, is when push came to shove, he couldn't accelerate quickly and hold it. He could do things that would make you believe he was a good horse, but just never took that next step. And that's not to say that he can't as a sophomore, but he did not as a rookie. And I'm always going to be on the lookout. Now, obviously, November of their yearling year is not generally when you go looking for that, but I'm going to be looking for it frequently and often as we train this filly down. What I saw was a filly much quicker on her feet than I remember the colt. Now, that means nothing. Take that with a grain of salt. There is a full, well, let me see, a minute and 4 seconds to find, for the most part, between now and next July when it comes to Tomboy Strong in comparison to I Don't Play Nice, but definitely off on the right hoof, so to speak. You saw her late in the mile kind of run into a blind switch, just quietly, gingerly kind of sashay to the right, boom, take off through the middle and get up to win the set. I was super, super pleased with the way she did her work. Another horse that I thought looked great was Zena Kemp. Just looked playful out there today. This is one of the last horses we had come in, if not the last horse we had come in, was Zena Kemp. And she enjoyed herself out there playing today. Megan's Lucky Day, I said to Jason, you can't start way at the back, and then it's difficult, right? Just assume that they're all the same today. So if you start at the back, it's going to be hard to accelerate past horses. And then Megan's Lucky Day was just doing what immature horses do. And the Uncle Peters, if you guys remember, The first couple of years we had them, they were not on my favorite list. But what I came to realize was the Uncle Peters need a lot of and actually enjoy a lot of work, more than the other horses. Aunt Lily last year got worked very, very hard in the months of April and May and turned into be a nice filly. And I think it's kind of a stamp of those horses. They just need a little bit more polish, a little bit more work, maybe a little extra work. And with Megan, you could see she was just acting up. Once she got Jason where she wanted him, she wasn't letting go, and she just goofed around. Listen, they're babies, not the end of the world. Emerald Tom, I think, looked good. Rico Tubbs. Hanger won. It said to Joe, Murphy Blind inside, Polo's behind, Bell Boots up front. Just run-of-the-mill trotter stuff. You can see when he was focused on doing his work, he did it well. When he wanted to play around, he didn't. And that's exactly what you saw today. And Head to Know looked very, very good also. Really, really happy with what I saw from the majority of the horses. Sure, you're going to get some of that, horses, they're babies. You're going to get playing around. But very happy with what I saw from set number 1. Put it this way, I'll put it this way. There's no concerns. Of the 7 horses from set number 1, I had 0 concerns as I got ready for set number 2. Now, I went out with set number 2. Don't Ask Again can be a little moody sometimes. Her and I have come to an agreement, and every time I called on her today, she certainly didn't waver at all. She did her work very, very well. Finished off her mile very well also. But I was just really pleased with what I saw. He's a Fearless Peter. I can tell you both the Uncle Peter horses will be geldings by Christmas. Uncle Danny and he's a Fearless Peter. Both of these are nice horses. And again, this is par for the course. I don't think one horse, I think we had an Uncle Peter stud. The rest of them were all castrated early. They just don't focus, right? Uncle Danny was one of the first horses to come in. He was bought in the Ohio sale, still out there squealing and being stupid and acting up, not doing his work. He's a Fearless Peter, same thing. It's just a simple matter of castration. We'll put the work into them. Most of these horses, if we find any OCDs that need to come out, if we want to castrate them, we'll do that around the Christmas holidays where things are kind of geared down a little bit anyway. For right now, start them up, push them forward, assess, reassess, and see what we like. And if there's things we don't like, we need to work on it, then so be it. And we've already done that somewhat with the shoeing. Great job by Chris this morning. Chris Allen and Enos, our 2 blacksmiths. Chris has been chipping in and doing some work, and a great job done with, I know Cheers to Beers was acting up today. He's another one needs to be castrated. But I was happier with his gait than I was earlier in the week. And also, Tavion Hanover, infinitely improved. So great job by him. So back to set 2. He's a Fearless Peter. Aunt Sarah, I thought, looked good. Joey said she's running in. She's just goofing off. Needs a Murphy Blind on the inside. But again, she's a horse. You see stuff like that, you're like, all right, make a little notation. Have the vet maybe go over, we'll fluoroscope her or x-ray her and do a complete vet check of her. Really doesn't matter what took place before the sale. Now she's ours. I don't care about what the findings were beforehand. I want to know what her joints look like now. If there's an OCD somewhere that needs to come out, then so be it. It doesn't really manifest itself just in grabbing that line. What you'll see is horses get over on a shaft, right? Get on the line really hard and veer sideways. I saw some of that with Aunt Sarah today, but it wasn't that bad. I would just start with Murphy Blind, get the vet to look at her, and we'll go from there. ACDC, I felt bad for him. He's just trying to learn the best he can, and then after a while, it just becomes frustrating, right? Imagine trying to do something. Here, go play the clarinet. You might be able to, blast out a couple of toots, but after a while, it just gets frustrating. And it takes practice, right? So ACDC will be fine. He's got a slick gait when he's going. Yeah, we have right there, ACDC. He'll catch it, though. Steady Volo, Jason was thoroughly impressed with today. He thought he looked good, this Daniel Cordinas horse. He thought he was very, very impressive. Royal Duchess just needs a little more weight up front. Need to work with her a little bit. Maybe put a little longer shoe on her behind, trotting boots instead of bandages for now. A lot of these horses come to the point now. Everybody wants to be easy. Nobody wants to be the guy out there on the run with the horses. We'll talk about one here in a minute also. But you have to push, right? These are athletes. They are learning their trade. Today was a day to just gently push. And when it comes to Royal Duchess, made a couple of breaks, acted up a little bit, no problem. She can do it again tomorrow. I'll put boots on her tomorrow and some toe weights and go again with her the right way. I'd love nothing more than come out of Thanksgiving, look forward to Christmas, and just have our horses doing their work properly. I would love that. So again, we're through set 2 almost, and I have no concerns. Don't ask again. I was really, really pleased with this filly that's caused problems, right? She's been lazy, she's been rude, she's been kicking at people, switching her tail, just not doing her work properly. But I worked her hard this week, and lo and behold, today, when I called on her, easy peasy, no problem whatsoever. She was great. Now, I'll tell you, you might not have noticed this filly, but she impressed me more than anybody in the set. I knew Don't Ask Again would look good. And I was happily surprised that Steady Volo looked good. But the horse that I thought looked the best to me was Pretty Eyes and Lies. And I'll tell you why. Stands a little bit off, right? Just like her mom did. Just like her uncle did. And this is the homebred that we have out of, what's the mare's name? Isa 10. Correct, Ava. This is Isa 10's baby by International Money. Stands off a little bit, and I'm worried, she's going to get to her knees and make a mess of herself. Is she going to train down good? We changed her shoes, and again, Enos did this, I believe. Whoever did it, you did a great job. I'm watching her. You can see me in the video turn around a couple of times and look right at her. I want to see her gait right in front of me. And perfect. 1, 2, 3. Never missed a beat. Wide enough. I don't think she's going to hit anywhere. If you would have pulled her out on the floor and said to me, what do you think? I better buy some knee boots for that one. You would never know, but her uncle Lawmaker was like that. He stood off, not as much as her, but a little bit. Never.
Lawmaker?
No, Lawmaker's her mother's brother. That's why we bought Isa 10, and that's why we kept Isa 10. Yeah, because it was Mom's filly, right? So I was so happy when I turned around, like, oh my God, fixed. A great job. And you might say, well, they're only going slow. It's not you can see the way they flip it in when they're going slow. You're like, when you get faster, you might have a problem. She doesn't. She just flops it straight over, but on an ankle because she toes out a little bit. But it doesn't look to me like she's going to hit anywhere. I was thoroughly impressed, one, with the blacksmith job. And I'll rave about both our blacksmiths. They work hard. Anybody that shows up and puts in an honest effort every day, especially in a trade like that, deserves praise from now and again. But whichever one of the two, and I know one thing, regardless if it was Chris or Enos has done a great job, and Chris did a great job on another horse today we're going to talk about in a minute. But Isa 10's baby, Pretty Eyes and Lies, I was thoroughly pleased with what I saw from her. And she had some pop too. Amy's always super protective. Don't go too fast. No, don't go too fast. But, my take on it is simple. Today is a little bit of a workout day. These are athletes. We're not going miles and 40 or 50 with them, but they are going to work. And,
Does the weanling have a name yet? Mom's?
I don't know.
Green 10?
I don't know. Green 10, yeah. I don't know. But I was thoroughly pleased with what I saw. Now we're through set 2, going into set 3. In New York, I thought looked good. Paul, again, like the horses, a lot of our trainers, Tyler, Paul, very experienced people, but don't really know how we train, right? Now there was a part in the mile where the seas kind of parted and Paul could have shot through, and he got halfway through and just let him hang out there. And I told him, I said, you gotta finish that off. I want them working. I want them moving forward. And in New York, I was happy with almost everybody in here. Captain Doolittle, I should have went with him the other day. He's missing a little weight up front. Needs weight. Needs a pair of shin boots because when he trots, he comes close to his shins. We're gonna let him rock. I wish we had a do-over tomorrow. If we had a do-over tomorrow, there'd be no issues with Captain Doolittle. I guarantee you that. But tomorrow isn't today. So he'll be fine. We just need to tinker a little bit with him. The horse that I thought was impressive in there the most to me was Judy's Money. Yeah, she made a break coming out of the turn, just goofing off, not really paying attention. But when she was putting her best foot forward, she was very strong today, which was impressive. And kind of caught me off guard. This was a filly, the first horse we bought in the stable this year. Just bought her out of the scratch and dent sale there before the regular sales. You never really know what you're going to get. Amy picked this filly out. We went down to look at a few horses. She goes, we didn't get any of the horses we wanted, but I'm going to tell you what, you should look at this filly selling here by Ready for Money. And this was totally Amy, and I'll tell you what, great eye and a great job, because this filly looks like she can. I hear that voice when he said, Anthony, it's November, just go easy. You're right, it is. But when you see a horse mechanically doing everything proper, it's a good feeling. And I was thoroughly pleased with Judy's money today. Steph's Hope did her work well, I believe. I think she was off by herself and made a break halfway down the lane. Supermind too. Amy said, this horse is just too fat. I said, you're right, he is a little obese, but you know what? He's got a lot of work coming ahead of him. He'll be just fine. Supermind looks good. I was happy with everybody's gait in there, except for Captain Doolittle, made a few little breaks. But again, as I said, if we could run that back, you would not see those breaks today. All he needs a little bit of weight up front. He would have been fine. I was very happy with everybody. Uncle Danny being castrated is the only blemish in there that I can see. I don't see any other issues from set number 3. Set 4, you'll note that I was on the front with Capistrano Nights when we started her mile, and I saw Millie's girl back there acting up, just like her mom, a little firecracker, and I stopped Capistrano Nights on back, said, Paul, hit her a smack in the arse and make her do her work, and he did, and she came to life. Her mom was a filly we had. I can't think of her name right now. Anyway, she was really, really fast, and she was qualifying, her first qualifying start of her life. James was going with her, and she looked awesome. And he ducked her to the inside. When he did, she put a step in and sliced straight through her tendon. Never got the race. Had to go to the university. They had to stitch her up, and then the breeder took her back, and they bred her, and this is her first foal. And she is a firecracker, just like her mom. She looked... No, Millie girl. Millie girl.
But that's not Capistrano.
No, that's her mom. That's her daughter, though, Capistrano Nights. Millie girl. Her name was... it's bugging me. Miss Mildred was her name. Miss Mildred was her name. Millie girl, what I should have told Paul was, hit her a smack in the arse, and by the way, don't win by a billion lengths. Paul got her in gear, let her float over to the front, and then she just looked like she was on cruise the whole way. It might be a little bit of might get a little warm, the old Millie, but I'll tell you what, she's got a sweet gait, just like her mom. Sweet Lake also looked very good, made a break coming into the last turn. Solidarity, the boys like, maybe pull their hobbles in. I said, guys, it's November 26th, just relax. We're not pulling any hobbles in just yet.
What did you call it? Solitary?
Solidarity, right
I know,
there.
but you called it...
I thought his name was Solitary forever. I didn't realize. I was missing a whole bunch of consonants and a vowel. Solidarity, yeah. Highest Honors, everybody told me this horse can fly. He's so nice, got such a slick gait. Jason went with him, and I don't know what went on, but he was acting up, wouldn't do his work right. And this is Points North's brother. And he's the opposite of Points North. Points North was a big lazy bugger. Highest Honor's a more medium-sized flighty bugger, but I think they both are going to end up geldings. We'll see how Highest Honor ends up, but apparently he can go as fast as a car. I haven't sat behind him since the first day I broke him. I can tell you he does pace nonstop. Well, it's not true. He didn't pace nonstop today. Capistrano Nights was good. Hobbles were a little long on her. We'd switched her hobbles up too. Somebody had a crack in their hobble. I threw it in the garbage. Gave them Capistrano Nights' hobbles, which were much heavier, and put a more racehorse set of hobbles on her. I think she enjoyed the weighted ones. I'm going to get the other round ones, the Jack's round ones out of the room. We do have a brand new pair sitting there. I'll put them on Capistrano Nights this week, but you can see she can absolutely fly too. Riding the Rodeo's coming off the virus, and Joe just let her kind of do her own thing. Sweet gait, nice looking filly. I don't really expect a whole lot from her for another little bit. She's just so big and tall, but gets over the ground nice and slick. I was happy with her, and then the trotter was in there also, Jailbird Jog. I wanted Amy to go with her. Did her work well as she could, but again, this is the first day we really pushed them, right? I've been telling everybody all week, videoing is coming up soon. I need everybody to go on the track, turn, and at some point, at least for an eighth of a mile, if not a little further, let them trot along. And you can tell there was a couple that maybe didn't get that stretching, and Jailbird Jog strikes me as one of those horses. Nice gait. I'm certainly not concerned about any of them. That was the fourth. The fifth set, Alyssa Hanover was acting up a little bit on Jason. She just needs experience. She was one of the later ones to come in also. Cherry's girl looked very, very good. Joey, I didn't realize that's who Joey had until we were pulling up. Cherry's girl is nice. She got a little mean. She's got a little bit of a mean streak in her too. And that's Joe and Joey. She kicked one of our caretakers the other day, Cherry, and a little bit of a menace in the barn. but she's getting better. You know, I always notice too, she got a little white spot on her eye, like a little blind spot on her eye that she must have hurt when she was young. And I find that the horses with vision issues are less trusting, right? And more likely to fire in the barn. You spook them, here comes the pain. And when it came to Cherry's girl, she opened fire the other day and got Carla. But, you know, just a stark reminder that these are big horses and they can do some damage if you don't pay attention. And Cherry was definitely on a war path today on the track. She looked very good. Jolene Hull did her work well. A little bit of an attitude yesterday when I went with her. She worked super hard yesterday and she worked very hard again today. And you know what? She might work hard again tomorrow because Jolene is going to learn that the easiest way to go through life, especially through this barn, is just do what you're asked. And I think you get that with a lot of them, right? Their first instinct is to not do what they're asked. Their first instinct is to maybe flip you the bird, so to speak. Horses can't do that because they have hoofs, but metaphorically speaking. They just work and repetition, and they learn. Jolene Hull will be fine. I'll tell you a horse that I thought looked really good. Go Strong Hanover. This is Locatelli's brother. He looked really good today. Cheers to Beers was acting up, needs to be castrated, but other than that, he was good. Degas was very good for Amy. I love this filly. She got such a sweet
That's
gait.
how you pronounce it?
Degas, yeah. So that's an artist, a French
Oh,
artist.
I thought.
Yeah, I think it's a French artist. I did. I jumped
Tavi.
over mine because I want to talk with Tavi last. Tavion Hanover had a clunky gait when I went with him the other day. I'm like, ugh. And a clunky gait to him. Reminds me of my old boy Leroy. And I had asked Chris, hey, can you make some shoeing changes? We talked about it. He made them today. Totally different horse. And you can tell the horse was happy too. He'd only ever been jogged, for the last 2-3 weeks max. But you can tell it's frustrating for them too to try and get their gait, interfere and touch, and just can't quite get it right. And then when you get them shod in a way that they're comfortable, you just see them settle and just mellow out and be happy. And it's a great feeling. And Tavion Hanover looked very good today, but felt very good today. And then the last set, Perfection Hanover. What a firecracker he's going to be. One thing I do love about him, you know, a lot of the horses you'll seesaw them. It's just to get a hold of them, let them relax, and get them under control. And he was a little wild coming on the track, and I just seesawed him a little bit. He came right back to me. Babies don't generally do that. That's something we generally teach them. That's something they learn. No mail. But he was so smart about it. And then once I got him on a helmet and in a hole today, just quiet and behaved. Just a real professional, right? But again, for those of you out there that are horse people and you've gone with a lot of horses, you can tell the ones that are well-bred, the ones that have class, they always have class. And this guy here just seemed really, really nice. Everybody in this set, I was thoroughly impressed with. Diosa Della Danza, not maybe the horse for Jason.
Who named it? It's Spanish?
Yeah, it's dancing something. I don't know.
You missed Neuromancer.
I've got to go by everybody here, Tony. Perfect Thought. Tyler was impressed. I told him, I said, this thing can fly. Really, really nice filly. Big, strong filly. Not going to wear any boots, I don't think. Not for a while anyway. And she was very, very timid. And Tyler went by me, she said she got a really soft mouth on her. Probably going to put a rubber bit in her mouth moving forward, just so she's very timid about everything. And you can tell that when you sit behind her. When you sit behind a horse, you can tell the ones that are calm and cool and collected, and the ones that are just on, they're on edge. She's always on edge. In the barn, out of the barn. It's just going to take a while for her to kind of melt away and end up being a nice filly in the barn. But she is such a beautiful filly and looks great on the track. Neuromancer. Maury used to do the same thing. Neuromancer's so much more laid back and easygoing than Maury was, but still has that, that squirrel brain where something kind of catches him by surprise, and he'll kind of, he was trotting along nice, and then just saw something jump forward. And anyway, it just needs to grow up and learn. That's part of the process, right? Perfection Hanover, I thought, was just so impressive. So fast. Again, speed means little. We had that nice colt last year, Roseron AJ, trained down, right? But you have to be able to put it all together and listen, understand, absorb the work that we're giving you. And sometimes when they're just hot, they just turn into what we call cheap speed. Now, I wouldn't call AJ cheap speed because by the end of the year he was very polite, but he did start out his year kind of like that. We had to watch him all the time. You can't use him the way you want to a normal horse. So you want to kind of stay away from that, but you can't tell, aside from his pedigree. When I look at Perfection Hanover, the speed is there. There's no two ways about that. And it's going to be there for a while. I don't think at any point training down are you going to be like, guess he's just not fast enough. I don't foresee that happening. But and the thing I like about him is he does. Remember, AJ wouldn't relent. He wore that chain in his mouth for months and months and months. This guy just sees something, he come right back to you, and then today just sit and relax. So he understands his work. Love Sensation, I was thoroughly impressed with today. She just looked good, just did her work perfectly. Rose Run Bobby, I'll be honest, this is a horse that was picked out by Randy Hutchison, Bob Hutchison, and my wife Amy. It was on one of her top picks in her list, was not on my list. So I'll be upfront about that. Rose Run Bobby was not on my list, but definitely on Randy's and Amy's, and she looked good. Really, really good on the track. And as I said, Diosa Della Danza. This is the sister to the good horse of Burke's that went in 48 as a 2-year-old last year. She's going to put it all together. We've broken and trained down enough dancing Yankees now to not, if you take the time, go back and look at I'm Fancy Like. Possibly, I think Jason said she was the worst horse he'd ever went with in December. Could not go any, would not go any, and then just slowly but surely got better and better and better and better. And there's no rush. There's no rush with this filly. She's beautiful filly, got a nice gait, but gave Jason fits today. So that was it from our side of the border. I think we have 46 in training here. I thought we'd 50, but Curtis says we have 49. Maybe I missed one. We had 2 solitary scratches today. That was Blue Rare and Royal Flush Hanover was scratched. Leland and Sterling have not been broke yet. They'll be broke this coming week. No, I'm wrong. Woodmere Bullet is in the Maritimes also. He's our horse with Jamie Smith. And then we have Simply Chaotic, Lifting Legend, and Dune over in Ontario. I'm going to be visiting them Thursday, Friday, Saturday of this week. So that's a complete rundown of what I saw from the sets today. I was really, really happy. If I was to say a couple of horses that really wowed me, Tomboy Strong. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but I did see some horses that I liked that other people went with. Xena Kemp, Tomboy Strong, Had to Know, all look good. Steady Volo looks super good. Pretty Eyes and Lies, Don't Ask Again. Happy with them in New York. Joe J. Fotag looked good. Judy's Money looked great also. And Uncle Danny did his work well, goofing off, but he just needs to be castrated. Who do we got in this one? Millie Girl. Yeah, you can see the talent there. It's present. Sweet Lake looked good. Solidarity. Those horses all looked really good. Cherry's Girl, as I said, a little bit of a terrorist in the barn, but man, she looked good on the track. And Go Strong Hanover looked very, very impressive. Degas looked also very good. Perfection Hanover, I can't say enough about this colt. He looked so good. Rose Run Bobby looked great, as did Neuromancer, Perfect Thought, Love Sensation, the entire set of set 6. And Diosa Della Danza, you can see out there, she was just goofing off. So that is our first full team set day, training day. Although we're not training yet, that won't be long either until we are. But for now, November the 26th, super happy with what I saw today. I hope you were too. Our sale is ongoing. I haven't really been checking in, to be honest, if I was to tell the truth. I think the shares are moving, some of them. Certainly should be taking a serious look at Tomboy Strong. Now, keep in mind, not only are those shares available and those horses look good today, but those shares will be going up on Saturday and they will not be going down again. I can assure you of that. Happy with what I saw from the 4 of them today. Wish I'd have seen a little bit more from Cheers to Beers, but we'll continue to work on him over the next week and get him going. I might go a little bit with him again myself tomorrow just to see what I see with him. But I know Tyler just said he was just goofing off, just needs to be gelded. So that is that. Days in the books. I'll talk to you all very soon. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Good luck to my partners tonight with George of the Jungle. Early play. Take care.